لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، نحمده ونستعينه ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه، الذي اسمه دواء وذكره شفاء وطاعته غناء، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، خاتم النبيين رحمة للعالمين، أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين، واللعنة الدائمة الباقية على أعدائهم أجمعين من ليلنا هذا إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى وتقدس: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وكونوا مع الصادقين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات. Brothers and sisters, first of all, I would like to congratulate all of you on the special occasion of the days and the week of birth anniversary of our 8th Imam, Imam Ali Redha alayhi salam, and also the first ziqada refers to Wiladat of Sayyida Fatima Masumah alayhi salam, which was passed in last week. So I'd like to convey my tabrikat and congratulate all of you for both events and occasions. In Qom and Mashhad and many places, these 10 days are celebrated and considered as Ashratul Karama, to remember and commemorate both personalities of Islam, especially our 8th Imam and also Sayyida Fatima Masumah alayhi salatu wassalam. So I, inshallah, try to discuss about 3 or 4 points. First of all, the concept of Imamah according to our faith, and also the Ma'rifat of Imam in a simple way, not very complicated discussion, just to have some understanding of concept of Ma'rifatul Imam, and then 1 or 2 important lessons that we learn from life of our 8th Imam and also from life of Sayyida Fatima Masumah alayhi salatu wassalam. Please recite salawat. As all of you are aware, we are followers of Ahlul Bayt called as Imamiyya. And the concept of Imamah is not just to believe in leadership of any person as an ordinary leadership like political leader. Imam is not just like a political leader. He is not like a boss or head of any institution. Imam is not just as a head or president of any department, for example. We believe, and our belief is based on logic and then Quran and Hadith, that Imam is our leader here and hereafter. He is appointed by Rasulullah with the commandment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam has divine knowledge. He is a complete and perfect role model, and he carries special status. He is the descendant of Rasulullah. He is inheritor of all Anbiya. Imam is a manifest of Allah's attributes and many other explanations and qualities are there when it comes to the muqam and status of Imam. So this is the main controversial line between Shia faith and other sects of Islam. Many people, they think or they try to discuss or have arguments about the differences between different sects of Islam, like how we do wudu, how we offer our salat, the timings of salat, the timings of iftar in the month of Ramadan, the differences in many ahkam of deen. These types of differences are there amongst all sects of Islam. The major line, the basic line, which is a distinguishing point between Shia faith and other sects, is the concept of Imam. We believe, as I said, Imam is appointed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so he carries divine knowledge. So in the result, there is no difference in if Imam has a political power or not. It doesn't matter if his age is, for example, 15 years or 18 years or plus or not. And it is there in Quran and Majid. If someone is appointed or has some special status from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, these matters doesn't affect. For example, Nabi Isa alayhi salam, he declares his prophethood and his holy book and his status when he was just a newborn baby. Nabi Yahya was Nabi and he was a child. So there are different examples in Quran when we believe in Quran. So this is Allah's power. If Allah appoints someone as his hujjah, so he is carrying some special and specific status. So worldly affairs doesn't affect on his status. So this is a concept of Imam. And then the next point which I want to mention is Ma'rifat of Imam. What does Ma'rifat mean? And it is interesting and it is important to have understanding of Ma'rifat. For example, we are told that our ibadah, our actions of worships are graded based on our Ma'rifat. When we visit to any holy shrine, when we go to ziyarah, we get a lot of rewards. And of course, we are told, if you visit holy shrine of Imam Hussein, if you visit Imam Ali Redha alayhi salam, so you will get Jannah for sure, indeed. But there is a simple condition in shart. عارف بحقه عارف بحقه. So we have to have some ma'rifah. What does ma'rifah means? As I said, I'm not here to go in depth, and then there are different types of discussions and there are complicated issues. But in a simple way, what does ma'rifah means? Same question was asked by our sixth Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam. What is the meaning of Arifan Bihaqi? Imam replies, يَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ مُفْتَرَضُ الطَّاعِ. We must know that Imam deserves to be obeyed. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deserves to be worshipped, Imam deserves to be obeyed. مُفْتَرَضُ الطَّاعِ. So ma'rifat is ma'rifat means to have knowledge, to know about Imam? Yes. Ma'rifat means to know, to have knowledge of Imam. But the knowledge and to know is not enough. We have to move one step ahead. Ma'rifat means to know, to have a faith, to have a strong faith which motivates us towards our actions, to struggle, to sacrifice. Ma'rifat means just not to know, but many times we know many things, but we don't follow our knowledge. For example, many people who smoke, they know that smoking is a harmful action, but they don't follow their knowledge, for example. There are many things. So one of the explanations of ma'rifat is to have understanding, and then to believe in, and then to have a strong faith which leads you to act on time, to struggle in that path, and to sacrifice when the sacrifice is needed. Muftaradut ta'ah. So the question arises, why should we obey? Why should we follow a person who lives like us? These days especially, many people, not just youth but many other people, they need some logical explanations. Why should we follow any person? The answer is because Imam is a perfect role model. No one is there in this world who is perfect. And let me go a little bit ahead and talk about Quran and Majid. Our deen, Islam, is based on logic. All of our beliefs are based on logic and dalil and evidence. Quran and Majid invites people to think. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. If I want to make a summary of the whole concept, Quran and Majid invites people towards thinking and research. Quran gives permission to think. Quran and Majid encourages to think. Quran and Majid complains if we don't use and utilize our intellect for our faith and for our activities, for our worldly affairs and for our life related affairs. So Quran permits to think. Quran and Majid invites to do tadabbur and tahqiq. Quran and Majid encourages to do tafakkur and tahqiq. And Quran and Majid complains if we don't utilize our intellect. And finally, according to Quran and Majid, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished many people. What is the reason? Because they don't use and utilize their intellect. لقد ذرأنا جهنم لكثيرا من الجن والإنس لهم قلوب لا يفقهون بها ولهم أعين لا يبصرون بها ولهم آذان لا يسمعون بها ولهم قلوب لا يفقهون بها أولئك كالأنعام بل هم أضل. Hopefully I read this ayat properly, maybe some small mistakes and errors there, but you know the concept and the meaning of this ayah. So if we don't utilize our aql, we are answerable. So the biggest blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala what we have is our aql. So Quran in a larger way, Islam, our religion, and also the life of Imam and the concept of Imamah is based on logic, first of all. And then we have ayat and many verses from Quran, and we have many ahadith and sayings from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam about the concept of Imam and then the personalities and attributes of Imam, and we follow our Imam because they are perfect. There were many events and incidents in the history where even enemies of Ahlul Bayt, they agreed and they accepted that Imam, especially in many controversies when they were against Amir al-Mu'mineen, they accepted that Amir al-Mu'mineen and his character is complete and perfect. There is no kind of naqs or fault. Some statements are there from Misam Tammar, from Qambar, servant of Amir al-Mu'mineen, when Hajjaj asks, why you love so much Ali? You don't bother and you are not scared of your life. Why you don't leave Ali and live with happiness? Then he replies, please provide me anyone better than Ali. I'll leave Imam Ali alayhi salatu wassalam. So my point is, we obey Aimma Athar alayhi salatu wassalam. We follow our Aimma not just because of ahadith. Yes, ahadith are there, Quranic verses are there, and more importantly, our logic and our intellect ask us to follow the perfect role model, and the perfect role models are our Aimma. So hum Asas al-Ibad, they are insane kamil, they are a perfect human being, and we need a complete role model to follow to be successful here and hereafter. Please recite loudly salawat Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So ma'rifat of Imam is a criteria, it is a base, it is a scale for greatness of all believers. I mean, there are some specific positions or status like nubuwah, prophethood, or imama. No one can be a nabi. Whatever we try, nubuwah is a special status given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah ya'lam haythu yaj'al risalatah. And also, imam, no one can become imam. We don't have that capacity to reach the status of imama by our efforts. This is a special status given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then, other than imam and nabi, there are greater mu'mineen, awliya Allah. What is the base and criteria for their greatness? I hope inshallah I'll be able to convey my message, and then it will be, I think, interesting. It will be one interesting point that if we look up, if we look at the exemplary characters which are mentioned in Quran, there are men and women. There are positive and negative roles and characters mentioned in Quran. One of the methods of Quran Majid mentions examples, positive examples and negative examples, good and bad people both, from Iblis to Namrud and Qawm Aad or Samud, and then Haman, Fir'aun, and then positive characters from Anbiya and their companions and their supporters and followers. So Quran Majid mentions both kinds of examples. When it comes to ladies who are mentioned in Quran, I am mentioning especially ladies just to connect to Sayyida Fatima Masumah alayhi salam. There are different ladies mentioned in Quran, and then in continuation of Quran there are several ladies, Sayyidat, who were example for not just ladies but even for men till the day of judgment. Quran Majid mentions mother of Nabi Musa, Musa. There is no name, but Musa is mentioned. Sister of Musa, Musa. And then mother of Nabi Isa, Maryam bint Imran. And then wife of Fir'aun, Asiya with name is not mentioned, but the wife of Fir'aun is mentioned in Quran Majid. And when it comes to the history of Islam, Sayyidah Khadija is somehow mentioned, not directly with the name, but according to some verses, Sayyidah Khadija is there. And also, in continuation, Sayyidah Fatima Zahra salawatullahi alayha, she is the most important example of history. She is uswa and role model, not just for ladies, for all human beings. And then in continuation, we have in history Sayyidah Zainab salawatullahi alayha, Kulsum, ladies of Ahlul Bayt, ladies of Karbala, and then go ahead till Sayyidah Fatima Masumah alayhi wassalam. So my point is, what is the scale, what is the criteria for greatness of anyone, man or woman? What is the criteria? Is salat? Is there charity? Is there psalm and fasting? Is a criteria being greatness for any believer just offering Hajj, for example, to perform Hajj? All of these wajibat and ahkam are important, but the criteria according to Quran and Hadith, if we think that what is the criteria, let's think about these ladies what I mentioned. Of course, all of them are not in the same status. The rutba, muqam and status of Sayyidah Zahra salawatullahi alayha is the greatest. No one can be like her. So there are differences in their status, but one line is common among all of these ladies which are mentioned in Quran or Hadith and history. What is that common line between Musa, mother of Nabi Musa, sister of Nabi Musa, mother of Nabi Isa, and Sayyidah Khadija, Sayyidah Fatima Zahra salawatullahi alayha, Sayyidah Zainab, Sayyidah Fatima Masumah. What is the common line of between all of these ladies? They were closer, they were real supporters, Nasirat of Hujjatullah, Nabi or Imam. So the criteria to be great, to elevate your status before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ma'rifat of Imam and support of Imam. And this is really relevant and important in our today's life. We have to keep in our mind that what is the real purpose of our life and what is the real destination of our success in our life. Why we live, what should we do, what is our responsibility. Yes, we have to get a good education, we have to maintain our career, we have to be successful in worldly affairs, yes, of course, but the purpose of our life is to prepare ourselves for Nusrat of Imam, to support the cause of Imam of time. This must be in our minds day and night. We have to remind ourselves of this concept and this aim. So the scale to be greatness, and also it is really difficult to go fast in our spiritual journey to get the closest place before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what is the fastest way to get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? That is support of Imam, Waliyullah, Nabiyullah or Hujjatullah. Imam, he can bring us to a place close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a very fast way and in very short time. So let me conclude this talk here. Imam, the concept of Imam is appointee by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and ma'rifat of Imam is to believe, to have a strong faith that he deserves to be obeyed, we have to follow him. And the real ma'rifat is not just to know about him, to have faith in him, to act in support of Imam Hussein and Sayyida Zainab is not just because of sister and brother, because of Imam and Ma'rifat Imam, being Nasara and Nasir of Imam, having capacity and having a real strong faith to sacrifice in the cause of Imam, to be included in the mission and movement of Imam. This is and then the Ma'rifat of Imam. When we have these understandings and these kinds of aqaid, then it reflects in our life. Let me conclude. What are the lessons we learned from our eighth Imam? There are many lessons, but I would mention one or two important lessons which are relevant in our life, especially these days. Imam alayhi salatu wasalam, eighth Imam was forced to travel, to migrate from Medina towards Khurasan, Iran of this time. The whole area was called those days as a Tus or Khurasan. So, and our eighth Imam, he is the single Imam. He is the only Imam who traveled out of Arab land, and the land which was called those days Ajam, Arab and Ajam. There is no any point to have some kind of misunderstanding and controversy. Just I am making a point that what lesson we learned from our eighth Imam is, Imam was forced to migrate from Medina. Ma'mun insisted that Imam has to come from Medina, out of Medina, and he tries to show kind of love and respect to Imam with a lot of hypocrisy, and then he forced Imam to come from Medina to Khurasan. First of all, Imam denied. I am not going to mention all historical events. Then Imam came to Khurasan, and what is the result? Travel of Imam or migration of our eighth Imam from Medina to Khurasan resulted in propagating and spreading the message of Ahlul Bayt to more than half world. I mean, what was the intention of Ma'mun? Why Ma'mun invited Imam and he forced Imam to come out of Medina, and Imam has to migrate from Medina to Khurasan? What was the reason? Ma'mun wanted to control Imam. For example, he wanted to misguide people by showing love towards Imam, and many lovers of Ahlul Bayt were there in Khurasan of that time, so he wanted to misguide them. Also, Ma'mun wanted to control the students of Imam and the closest students and companions of Imam. So there are a lot of reasons for Ma'mun. In summary, in one line, Ma'mun wanted to limit the benefits of Imam. This was the aim of Ma'mun. And what was the result? Because of that migration which took place at that time, forcefully, Imam changed that situation, that challenge, that biggest challenge to a biggest opportunity. And then Imam and his migration was a reason to spread the message. For many countries because of migration of Imam. This is the real result of Hijrat of Imam. And as all of you know, the concept of Hijrah in migration is a Quranic concept. Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam says, Inni muhajirun ila Rabbi. I will conclude in a few minutes, inshallah. Nabi Ibrahim says, I am migrating to my Lord. So all of you know there is two types of travel. For example, one is to just go to some place to just visit. We go some country, some city to for any task, for any job. For example, for 2 days, 1 week, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. So there is a difference between visit and between migration. And we have the concept of hijrah in all times of our life. We are in the process of hijrah, but this hijrah, this migration is towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And same concept is there with Imam Hussain and his journey. So I used to say for my generally Urdu audience, subcontinent mu'minin, they do, for example, Muharram, Safar, all 2.5 months azadari. So we must not be like a visitor, like to remember Imam Hussain or our religion in specific days and then come out of that concept. No, we must be the muhajir ila al-Husayniyya, to concept of Imam Hussain, to the aim of Imam Hussain, to the cause of Imam Hussain. When we migrate, then we are not like visitors. We keep that place or some imaginary spiritual environment to stay there, to live there. It means our religion, Islam, Iman, Aza of Imam Hussain, and our religiosity is not a part-time job. It is a complete full-time commitment. We are a mu'min, we are a follower of Imam Hussain, we are a follower of Ahlul Bayt in the Islamic Center, in our school, in our institution, in our job, in our trade, in our earnings, in our spendings. Whenever we are a follower of Ahlul Bayt. It means we have to migrate towards the real religion, to real faith. So the lesson what we learn from our 8th Imam is he did hijrah from Medina to Khurasan. I believe many of us, if not all of us, we migrated from one place to other place. So there are many reasons for migration. Many people, they migrate to attain some better opportunities for their life, to earn more, to have a more happy life. For example, all of these types of hijrat and migrations are good, but the noble migration, the meaningful hijrah is we have to have always kind of journey towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is called qurbatan ilallah. We do intention and niyyah for all of our ibadat to be close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Imam alayhi salatu wasalam, our 8th Imam, he changed his journey and his challenge towards a biggest opportunity. One of the sentences which are mentioned in his ziyarah, this ziyarah is from our 9th Imam, for 8th Imam. There is a sentence, Ya man, assalamu ala ghawthil lahafan, Ya man sarat bihi arzo Khurasan Khurasan. O Imam, peace be upon you. You are one who helps the needy people, and then because of you, the land of Khurasan became land of Khurasan. What does Khurasan mean here? Khurasan means a land of sun, bright land, a land with nur, with shams, with sun. So Khurasan becomes Khurasan because of relation with 8th Imam. So he changes the nature of that land. He changes not just nature of that land, but he changes the hearts of people who live there. And he changes not just heart, he purifies the hearts of people who live in Iran, not only Iran, whole world. So his migration was a kind of conspiracy, a targeted event and effort from his biggest enemy and killer, but Imam changed this challenge to an opportunity. We have to learn that we have to change the challenges to an tawfiq and opportunity, and we have to work hard. Same concept includes our hijrah. If we migrated from one place to another place, it must not be a reason to change your faith, to lose your faith, to lose your identity, to weaken your iman, and to change your hearts towards negativity. No. First of all, our migration should not be a reason for weakening of our iman, but we have to strengthen and we have to make our iman strong. And also we must be an ambassador, a representative of messages of Imam and Quran and Majid whenever we live. There are some ahadith. I'm not here, I don't have some specific hadith with the reference here, but there are some sayings and hadiths from Imam which says that in the end time, in the time of Zuhur of Imam or before Qiyamah, sun will rise from the west. So, is it there? Is nature? Does nature change? Will nature be changed at that time? So one of the explanations is that the nur of Iman, the nur of Quran, the nur of message of Imam may reflect from the west side of the earth. So we can be, there is a great opportunity for all of us to just not make our iman strong, but to be propagator and inviter of Ahlul Bayt and towards people by our behavior, by our efforts, by our all kinds of activities. If we look at history, I am concluding, Islam was entered in subcontinent, many other subcontinent of India, in many other places, even Europe and Africa, not because of kings and rulers and then because of wars. No, Islam was entered there because of many traders and muhajirin, people who migrated. The real awliyaullah, many sadat, they migrated from Makkah or Medina or Kufa. Many companions of Ahlul Bayt or many students and scholars of Ahlul Bayt or Islam, they migrated, they went to different places and they settled down there. Because of their existence, many other non-Muslims, they converted themselves towards Islam. So this is an example for all of us that we have to learn from life of our eighth Imam, from life of Sayyida Masumah, that we have to carry the real marifat of Imam. We have to work hard for cause of Imam, and also if we are living in a different environment, it doesn't mean we start compromising on our faith. No, but we have to be firm on our faith, and we must invite others towards the real faith and the real purified ideology of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. And inshallah we ask by the name of Imam Ali Reza alayhi salam, may Allah grant us tawfiq and strength to stay on Sirat al-Mustaqim, to learn the teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, and also to propagate and to invite people towards teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you for listening and for inviting. Jazakumullahu khairan.